So Baltimore Ravens head coach John Harbaugh provides some big updates on several players, including Lamar Jackson, him not attending OTAs, Ronnie Stanley, how he's looking, David Ojabo, his injury updates, plus the rookie cornerback Nate Wiggins reveals who's been the hardest wide receiver to cover since he's been in the league. We got all that and much more Baltimore Ravens news. So welcome into another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock. As always, bringing you guys our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Baltimore Ravens today. We're only about 15 days away from the mandatory minicamp, and then training camp will be right around the corner. Make sure you got your subscribe and notification bell on so we can keep you up to date on all of your Baltimore Ravens news and content, man. In a few days, we'll also have some big-time post-June 1st cuts that the Ravens could add like they typically do before training camp. So let's dive into the content. At number 1, Brandon Stephens, who burst onto the scene last year as a lockdown corner on the outside for the Ravens. He addressed the media today, and he said that he's going out there with the same mentality that he's got to go win a starting job because, remember, they just drafted Nate Wiggins, who's going to want to start on the outside. We got Marlon Humphrey as well. This is going to be a very fierce competition between some talented defensive backs back there in the secondary. Here's Brandon Stephens on Zachary Orr, the new defensive coordinator, and him turning it up a notch this season.
Yeah, Zach, he's been doing great, man. He brings that fire each and every day, and he demands, a lot from us. He demands perfection, and so that's what we're chasing. He says it every day. But yeah, he's doing a great job. To any year, every year is to elevate the standard. Take it up a notch. Last year, nobody cares about last year anymore. So, I got to continue to prove myself each and every day, and earn the right, once again, to start.
Also a reminder that Brandon Stephens is entering a contract year. He'll be entering the 4th year of his rookie deal here. So he's got a lot at stake here. Not only does he want to build off of what he put on film last year, but he's going to be a free agent after this year if the Ravens don't extend him. He's got a lot to play for this year. The Ravens are very hungry. Zachary Orr is going to have this defense fired up, and I'm excited to see what it looks like. At number 2, John Harbaugh provides an update on a few players, Lamar Jackson, David Ojabo, and Ronnie Stanley. The first big one here is David Ojabo. So David Ojabo, we know he missed almost his entire rookie season because he tore his Achilles at his pro day before the draft. He would come back that year late in the season and get a strip sack on Joe Burrow. The next year, he's looking like he's healthy. He's making some splashes in training camp. And then all of a sudden, he finds out somewhere during the season that he has a partially torn ACL and has to sit down, get that thing surgically repaired, and is looking like he's on track this year. John Harbaugh says his timeline, I believe, is somewhere in training camp. It won't be mini camp, but it's at some point in time once we get back for training camp. That's good news for Ojabo. If the Ravens has some guys step up, we know what Kyle Van Noy can do. We've seen flashes from Odafe Oweh, but if they got some of these other young guys step up, 1 or 2, maybe 3 of them, you're looking at a really potent, deep pass rush rotation. Now, yesterday we talked about Tavius Robinson, how he's been flashing all throughout these offseason OTA workouts and looks excellent, very good shape. He played 29% of the snaps last year, and he's looking for an uptick in his role. We also got David Ojabo, who's got all the physical tools, the bend, the speed, can really threaten the outside edge. Like, this guy can rush the passer. He's very talented and gifted as a natural pass rusher coming out of college, but we haven't got to see what he can turn into under the tutelage of Chuck Smith, the outside linebackers coach, because he just hasn't been healthy. So hopefully this is the year he stays healthy and he gets his career back on track. John Harbaugh also provided an update on Lamar Jackson. And whenever John Harbaugh was asked about Lamar, because he's only attended one of the 4 days of open OTAs, he said it's just that time of year. It's a voluntary time. It's really not something that we comment on. We can't, and that's just the time of year it is. So I can't speak on anybody that's not here. And he said, I pretty much know the different reasons guys aren't here most of the time, but not always. Nobody's required to tell you exactly what's going on, so I'm not really specifically going to be able to comment on anybody that way. But the guys who are here were great flying around, and the guys who we had here, we had a great time coaching. So I'm not worried about Lamar not being here for, this voluntary OTA workout. Would I like him to be there? Absolutely. I think he should be building some more chemistry with a guy like Rashad Bateman, who he didn't have that time in the offseason last year. The rookie Devontae Walker, who's hoping to be that speed threat, build off of that second year in the offense with Todd Monken and Zay Flowers. But I'm not stressed about it. I think the offense will be just fine. They have a lot of time when it comes to the mandatory mini camp and training camp and heading into the season. But you do want to get as many reps as possible because we did not see Lamar and some of the starters in preseason last year, and it'll probably continue to be that way. So some of these early reps are important. Lamar Jackson, though, let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. We also got an update on the former All-Pro left tackle Ronnie Stanley, who's looking to have a bounce-back year. A few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, we got some news drop on Ronnie Stanley restructuring his deal to where it's basically a one-year deal. So if he does well this year, he's got a lot of incentives in that contract. If he does well, he hits the incentives, he becomes a free agent, and it would be a win-win situation for both Ronnie Stanley and the Baltimore Ravens. He drew some praise from John Harbaugh today. He says he looks good. I was pleased, very pleased, and Ronnie's talented. He's working super hard. We know the injuries in his career has been so unfortunate and has changed the way he's had to play the position. But he talked about last season how he had to adjust to that, and hopefully those adjustments continue to get refined, and he's building more strength and conditioning and all that good stuff, and hopefully he can be that full-time starting left tackle for us this year instead of having to rotate and be in and out of the lineup. I'm really hoping Ronnie Stanley has a big year, because if he does, I believe Lamar Jackson in the passing attack is also going to have a big year, and that could lead to some really good things for our Baltimore Ravens. At number 3, here's what the new defensive back coach, Doug Mallory, he was hired after Denard Wilson was hired by the Tennessee Titans to be their new defensive coordinator. Here's what he had to say on rookie cornerback Nate Wiggins.
First thing that stands out, extremely hard worker, smart, intelligent. You see him out here on the field, he's got great length. And that's the thing, it's just hard to find corners that have that type of length and that can run like he runs. But he has great balance, body control, change of direction. He's been real sticky in coverage. And, there's certainly a lot of things. He's just like everyone else, a lot of areas that they need to improve. But he certainly has good traits to work with.
This is a guy, and Coach Doug here, who's inheriting a very talented, loaded secondary up and down all position groups in the secondary, man. The corners, you got several outside corners, Marlon Humphrey, Brandon Stevens, the rookie, Nate Wiggins. Got some depth there with Jalen Armour-Davis, and don't forget about the other rookie, TJ Tampa, who's talented. And then we also got a lot of guys in the nickel position like Arthur Marlette or Darius Washington. And, of course, the safety room is just ridiculous with Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams. I really think that this secondary is going to cause issues for opposing and passing attacks. At number 4, Nate Wiggins says that Rashad Bateman has been the hardest wide receiver to cover so far in the offseason workouts. He says he's just shifty, a lot of quickness in the route, and he said that Zay Flowers was the most fun wide receiver to cover because of his competition he had with him in college a few years ago, and says it's been fun to also go against a rookie receiver, Devontae Walker. Here's a clip of Devontae Walker. Really, his feet look good. That was one of the knocks on him. The reason why he didn't go earlier was some of the route running polish and the change of direction in the route, and he looks pretty good so far. I know we don't have pads on, and you need to see it in game action, but Devontae Walker, from what we've heard from all the coaching staff, Todd Monken, other players, is that he's really picking up the offense fast. He's a sponge, he's smart, and he's looking good out there. At number 5, here's an update on the rest of the offseason workouts. So there's one more OTA session tomorrow, May the 31st. And then there's there's one more week, June 3rd to 4th and June 6th to 7th. That's the last voluntary portion. The mandatory minicamp is June 11th through 13th. And before that, we're going to have some post-June 1st cuts where a bunch of veterans around the league are going to be cut and could possibly be brought in here to Baltimore. So we got a lot to look forward to. Again, smash the like button if you enjoyed today's content, if you got any value out of it. And make sure you got that subscribe button on so we can keep you up to date on everything that's coming up soon, man. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ray, when he wasn't looking, he ran me over.